Happy Monday, fight fans. I go by the name of Ak.
And I'm Barak, the boxing bully.
And this is the DAZN Boxing Show. Thank you for joining us. A lot to talk about. Fresh off the jet, as I always say, even though I got here yesterday from Detroit. A lot to talk about. Claressa Shields, the undisputed GOAT, and the opening bell. Barak, I want to set it off first before we get into the fight. I want to talk about Detroit a little bit. First off, shout out to Cash Doll, who came and set the show off. She was the opening act, walking Claressa out. But just this is our first time in Detroit. Even going out to eat, it didn't seem like that many people knew about the fight. But boy, was I mistaken, because when we stepped in the building, everybody came. It was a sold-out crowd in the Little Caesars Arena. It reminded me a little bit of when I went to Atlanta and saw Tank fight Gamboa. Barak. Detroit, Michigan came out for Claressa this weekend.
Yeah, different crowd than Tank, no ballers. But it was just people who love Claressa Shields, literally. And this is the thing, this is a clear example of how one person can nearly pack out an arena, because it was nearly a sold out crowd. Everybody was there for Claressa, literally. And I want to give a shout out to the staff at the Motown Museum, because we happened to go there. They said there was no more tours left. They found out who we were, and not that we're anybody, but they found out who we were, and they let us go through the tour. And it was just an amazing thing to see how much rich music history is in Detroit. I'm talking about the greatest of the greats performing in a room where we were standing. It was incredible.
Where we performed, actually, my girl.
Yeah.
Listen.
And then we got to see the greatest of the greats perform, at the Little Caesars Arena, and that's Claressa Shields. It was an incredible
I just want to echo what Barak said there. It was really nostalgic. Let me remind you guys, we're talking about Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5. We're talking about Marvin Gaye, the Temptations, Diana Ross. Those type of acts went through that building, Hitsville. It's called Hitsville. It's the first studio. I mean, they had all the original, and we're getting into music here, but we had to let you know our experience of Detroit, and that was definitely a highlight, Barak, so I'm glad you brought that up.
And then Claressa Shields not only had Cash Doll, who represents today's generation, but they had the Four Tops singing the national anthem. Now, I know it was a different rendition, but like I said, that's history. My parents listened to the Four Tops.
No doubt. Look, it was an overall great show, so shout out to Salida Promotions for putting on a great show. It felt like a big fight sitting there ringside. It felt huge. The lights were bright. The crowd was there. I enjoyed myself. And just to get into the fight, Brock, first off, we expected Claressa to go in this fight and dominate. Now, we knew that Maricela can take a punch, and she also has power in her right hand, but the speed I thought was going to be a factor in a fight, and that's indeed what transpired. Beating her to the punch every time. Claressa threw the looping right hand, she threw the straight right hand, she threw the left hook to the body. She wanted to put on a show, and this is, Barak, I have to say, this is one, not that Claressa doesn't try to knock her opponents out, but she wasn't trying to cruise to a victory in this fight. She was really desperately trying to stop Maricela Cornejo in this fight. She wanted to please the crowd with a knockout, but I think the 2 minutes in female boxing rounds is affecting the knockout. In the past, I didn't think that was the case, Barak, but seeing it live and really keying in on that, I felt like that's the reason why women don't score that many knockouts.
That's a great argument, and I kind of agree with you, and that happens a lot of times. It's just like sometimes in men's boxing, you say, damn, if we had more than 12 rounds, that it would have a knockout in the 13th round. So you can say that, but then you got girls like Amanda Serrano who have a lot of knockouts. You know what I mean? So it's up, I say put it in the women's hands, meaning if you guys want the extra 2 rounds, then give it to them, but they need that extra pay as well. Because if you're not going to pay them at the same level, because I guess the crowd doesn't come out, so you can't just get money from nowhere, so if you're not going to pay them at the same level, then I don't expect to see them.
I think that's a double-edged sword.
Minutes.
That's a double-edged sword there, because women do talk about equal pay and wanting to be paid as men do, but men fight 3-minute rounds, right? So that's going to be that argument. Not that those are my sentiments, but I'm saying that's going to be the argument there. Hey,
but pay pay really is dependent upon, you know, the people in the seats and the people that want to see it on TV and stuff like that. So it really depends on how many people want to view it. And I think
don't get me wrong, just to your point, I'm not saying that there aren't women that can punch, Barak. Like, obviously, there are women that hit harder than others, but I do think when in terms of stoppages and wearing an opponent down, you know, and getting those knockout victories.
You need that extra minute.
You need that extra minute.
Yeah, I hear you, man. And I do see that Claressa was really sitting down on her punches. She was doing that overhand right. I kind of wanted to see it a little bit more straight because when she did throw it straight, it had a big effect on Cornejo. Yeah. But Cornejo's just a tough woman. I don't think anybody probably would have got her out that night. You know, yeah, she was preparing for somebody else. Who knows how hard she prepared for somebody else who she was supposed to fight this week, actually, I believe on the 6th. But when you know you're going up against somebody that has all the belts that will change your life if you win, I know you're going to come in there with as much as you can. I know the last couple of weeks you got to prepare, you're going to go very hard, and your mindset is going to be like, it's all or nothing for me. So she's not somebody who can get easily knocked out anyway. Right. You know, and
you know, Barak, I read a funny comment this yesterday actually about Claressa, and a fan said, listen, Claressa needs to fight 2 women in the ring at the same time. She's too special. No woman is going to beat her. Now, that's a funny statement, and that might be the case for, you know, certain women. But there is a fight out there that I would love to see Claressa fight, and that's Shadasia Green. Okay, when you talk about talent and skill-wise, you know, I think she's seeking for that big opportunity, for that big fight, for that legacy opponent. And look, Claressa, she's done so much in this sport. She's fighting in the PFL. She's been open to WWE if they give her a call. She's becoming a star.
I don't know why you keep mentioning that like that's fighting.
she's I know, right? Especially somebody like me that's always throwing shots at the WWE. But I think that even her, she still is searching for that fight, right? For that elite opponent that's going to give her a real challenge. Not that she hasn't been in any fights. You know, there were moments in the Savannah Marshall fight that she was challenged. There were moments in the past that she was challenged. But I'm talking about that fight that we're going to go in there with butterflies. We're going to go in there saying, like, there's going to be some adversity here. And I think Green is that fight, Barak.
Yeah, you might be right because she shows a lot of skill. I've been in camp with Shadasia Green. She punches extremely hard. Extremely hard. Some say Savannah Marshall punched hard too. She got a lot of knockouts as well. And Claressa was able to take her shots and make her miss. So that's probably that fight that we need to see. But I think before that, it's kind of like Jaron Ennis. It's like Shadasia Green is that Jaron Ennis, you know, the new person that's come up and knocking everybody out. But we still wanted to see the 2 top guys fight each other before Jaron Ennis. So, and now we're getting that fight July 29th with Crawford and Spence. So before we get to Shadasia Green, I think that we got to see Claressa try for a third. Now, I know she's been undisputed 3 times, but it's in 2 weight classes. But a third undisputed she can at least try for at 168 pounds with her fighting her very, very good friend, almost her sister, Franchon Cruz, who they fought earlier in their career. But obviously they're both better. They're both more seasoned. And that would be a great fight with the winner fighting Shadasia Green. Imagine that. But I think the thing about Claressa is, as of right now, she's like the Floyd Mayweather of women boxing.
Well,
meaning,
can I just chime in real quick, Barak? I like.
How you gonna chime in?
No,
how you gonna? The scenario about Shadasia Green.
That scenario you mentioned was great, but a better scenario, in my opinion, would be Shadasia Green to fight Franchon Cruz and Claressa fight the winner of that fight.
And that's cool. That's cool too. That's cool too. But like I said, you know how Jaron Ennis, you didn't want him coming in and trying to fight Bud. Whether Bud beats him or not, you just don't want him to interrupt something because these guys have been here already and they've been champions and you want to see them fight. But yes, I do believe Shadasia Green needs to get in there and get a belt and fight Claressa Shields. That would be great as well. But let me just talk about how Claressa Shields is like caught where Floyd was. It was his era, but within his era, you had somebody by the name of Manny Pacquiao. And within that era, they were calling Manny Pacquiao the fighter of the decade and all of this other crazy stuff. And saying, and he was the most dominant at one period of time within Floyd's era. Floyd had to come and beat him and show him that was nothing. That was easy work for Floyd. You know, and it's the same thing with Claressa Shields. You got people like Amanda Serrano, and then you got Katie Taylor, who people were saying was the best fighter around the world because she was able to get that win over, even though some disputed it, over Amanda Serrano, and then she loses. You know, so it's the same thing with Pacquiao.
Attempting to be great, moving up to another weight class. So let's not forget that.
No doubt, and I love Katie, and I know that, but I'm just talking about skill set. No matter what. Claressa did 3 different weight classes as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? And understand something. She hasn't had any close fights. So let's talk about that. I love freaking Katie. She had a few close fights where people say maybe Pursuing won. I don't know. Give her the credit for going up to 140 and daring to be great. But I'm just saying, it's like Floyd and Manny Pacquiao. You got 2 great people at the same time. Well, who was greater? Floyd. Yeah. You know, and I think that's where Claressa is, where like Floyd, you really didn't have a rival. You really didn't have somebody that, unless you changed your style when you fought Maidana and then came back and beat him easily, you know, you really don't have somebody that you need to see 3 fights with. And sometimes that makes your era look not as good. So hopefully maybe Shadasia Green could be that rival. I don't know. Maybe Franchon will end up being that rival. Who knows?
That was my point. At the end of the day, great victory for Claressa Shields this weekend. Big shout and respect to Cornejo, who fought a tough, resilient fight against the best female fighter in the world and couldn't get the victory. We'll see what's next for Claressa. Let her enjoy this victory, go on vacation. And I'm excited about women's boxing. Yeah. Excited about all of boxing. A lot of potential big fights out there. So, all right, that's our show for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace and love. Stay safe. We're out of here.
Introducing the new DAZN Boxing Show podcast. No matter the time or the place, getting your boxing content has become easier than ever. Tune in as we give you exclusive insights, predictions, fight night recaps, and more alongside the biggest names in the game. All for free. Available globally every Thursday across all audio streaming platforms and with new episodes dropping weekly to give you the latest news. Just type in the DAZN Boxing Show podcast, listen in, and enjoy.